The 80s were a brilliant time for action movies. Growing up, I ate all these movies up. I wanted to be all those characters. You had actors like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sigourney Weaver, Bruce Willis, Kurt Thomas? Stay tuned and we'll find out all about it. Growing up, these were some of my favorite movies. I think I watched them until the tapes ran out. That's not me, by the way. That's just some random stock footage, kid. This is me. I'm in my 40s now. Join me as I go back and watch these movies through adult eyes and hopefully don't wreck my childhood in the process. This is New Thoughts on Old Stuff.
His name? Kurt Thomas. His title, 3-time world gymnastics champion. His assignment, a secret mission for the United States government. His only weapon, himself. When gymnastics and karate are fused, the combustion becomes an explosion, and a new kind of martial arts superhero is born. Gymkata.
Eeks, that is a lot to unpack. You know, when I show people this trailer, they always assume it's not real, but obviously it's very real. I trimmed the trailer down for time, and so it doesn't really do a good job of explaining the story, so I'm going to do my best to give you the abridged version. All right. We find out Johnny's dad left the country to compete in the game. His father is lost in the process and never heard from again. Johnny is recruited by the government to compete in the game and gives the USA a strategic military position to help them win the Cold War. It was the 80s after all. He gets trained by this hot Filipino woman, this majestic guy on this beautiful beast, and a badass with an eagle. He travels to Parmistan. Yep, Parmistan, where he's welcomed by a group of what I think are ninjas. Meets the main bad guy, gets introduced to the ruler of Parmistan, yep, Parmistan, and learns the rules of the game. Johnny has to rely on his natural gymnastic skills and all his new training, and of course, some conveniently placed gym equipment to help him survive the game. And with a little luck, he might
win, Johnny.
Gymkata is a martial arts film released in 1985. It was directed by Robert Klaus, who also happens to be the director of one of my favorite martial arts films of all time, Enter the Dragon. It had Kurt Thomas in the leading role. This film also came out when I was about 7. So as a 7-year-old watching somebody flipping around, beating up bad dudes, it was essentially the perfect film. I remember watching this movie many times as a child, and I wanted to see if it still held up today. It didn't. It's really bad. Jason Bailey of IndieWire writes, "This really happened in Hollywood in the 1980s, which gives you some idea of exactly how much cocaine was flowing through that place back then." Scott Weinberg of E! Film Critic writes, "Hey, you got your gymnastics in my karate." "No, you got your karate in my..." "Oh, never mind. You just won't find a movie much stupider than this one." Now, I want to agree with these gentlemen so bad. I could probably tear this movie apart very easily, but in my research, I found some things out about its star, Kurt Thomas. He was billed as a gymnast in the film, but what I didn't know about him was that he was a gymnast in real life. Apparently, one of the best. He came from a very poor background and started practicing gymnastics at a very late age. When he was finally good enough to compete at the Olympics in 1980, the USA boycotted sending a team because of some beef with the then Soviet Union. To make money, he put on shows for crowds, like at SeaWorld. And then when the Olympics came to Los Angeles in 1984, he's barred from being on the team because he got paying jobs, thus making him a professional, and at the time, only amateurs were allowed. By the time that rule was lifted, he had missed his window and never made an Olympic team ever again. In all the articles I read, every athlete acknowledges that this guy would have won it all. Maybe that's why he made this movie. It was his last shot at stardom. And I guess that's my new thought on the film. I don't know if having this new knowledge made the movie better in that sense of the word, but I could definitely look past some of the flaws and recognize a guy who loved his sport and wanted to demonstrate it on film. And while Gymkata's idea of having a gymnast walk into a dojo and come out an action film star didn't quite stick to landing, I give Kurt Thomas a perfect 10 for continuing to pursue his dreams. And that's inspiring no matter how you feel about this film.